This video is brought to you by Legacy Precious Metals.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Technique Tuesday. Glad you're back, Sweet T. Just gotta say glad you're back. I had to use Bob last time. Where were you?
I was back in the hills of the Appalachia.
Today, we're gonna be going over how to instantly increase your technique speed. What up, everybody? Everybody, what's up, everybody? Did you know that in recent history, when the stock market has plummeted, gold has held its value and even increased? Legacy Precious Metals is the company I trust when investing in gold and silver. They have been super helpful and their staff is so easy to talk to. They can ship metals directly to your door or help you put your metals in a retirement account. We all know the economy is in trouble, and 2023 doesn't look like it's going to be a good year. As a fighter, wealth preservation is really important to me. I need to know my money is secure and not disappearing with inflation or with a stock market pullback. LPM has a free gold guide that will answer all your questions about investing in gold and silver. Click the link in the description to download or call them at 866-849-3356. Call now. Let's get into the video.
Now, believe it or not, there are some ways you can increase the speed of your techniques without any fancy training. You don't gotta hit the gym and become a bodybuilder. You don't have to spend time in the hills of the Tibetan mountains doing fingertip push-ups on sandstone. There are very easy, simple, practical ways to increase the speed of your techniques immediately. And that's what we're gonna be going over with you guys today. Now make sure you stay tuned towards the end of the video because that's when we're gonna give you the most important tip, the thing that is going to change your game forever.
Stay tuned.
You're not gonna wanna miss it. Yep, you're not gonna wanna miss it. Tip number one, WB, is
timing. You have to have great timing. You know, some of the best fighters, strikers out there aren't crazy fast. They just have amazing timing. And you know what? As I get older, I'm relying more on my timing than I am my hand speed.
Specifically, a couple of examples right off the top. You got Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo. You had the super punch coming from Aldo and the perfect, impeccable timing of Conor McGregor.
Got another one for you.
Yeah.
Izzy Adesanya versus Alex Pereira, his last fight. Waiting, timing, throwing the right hand, putting him out.
So many examples of somebody or two people throwing techniques at almost the exact same time and one person lands their shot, and that is just a matter of timing. Now, WB, explain on how you can have good timing or what you look for when you time somebody's shots.
Well, there's a few ways that I like to time my opponent. Number one, where they're moving, right? And what techniques they are throwing. And obviously, I gotta do my studying, watching my opponent, what he likes to throw. But a lot of times, I use my opponent's movement that determines whether or not I can time this guy or not. For instance, when Jose Aldo fought Conor McGregor, where was Jose Aldo moving?
Forward.
He was moving forward. That's like one of the most epic times to time somebody and to strike them by either backing up and striking or moving in, meeting them in the middle. Maybe we can show them a few ways, maybe just by looking on what we mean by when these guys are moving forward. Let's do it. All right, guys, so I got my gloves. Sweet T, he's got the Wonder Boy mitt. Wonder Boy.
Exclusive. One and done, first edition, only edition.
That's right. And a great timing drill is, as soon as Sweet T holds the mitt up, I've got to pop it. Now the goal is, if I wait too long to hit the mitt, he's gonna bring it back down. And that shows me that I lost that opportunity to strike my opponent. For instance, if your opponent drops their front hand for a split second, if you don't have great timing, they'll bring that hand back up, you miss that opportunity. So that's one of the things that helps with timing. You gotta be aware of the opportunities to strike your opponent.
Though this doesn't directly apply to technique speed, it does give the perception that you are super fast because you're taking advantage of every opportunity that your partner gives you to land those strikes.
So I'm sitting here bouncing. As soon as he holds that mitt up, I gotta strike. You can build a little bit of speed because my goal is to hit that target before he brings it back down. See, if I wait too long, he'll bring it back down. I missed that opportunity, right? And you can do this with every technique. I can do this with a jab. I can even do this with a cross. Bang! And then I can do this with my kicks as well. He brings it up, I gotta hit, which I have to have good timing, or if I miss, he brings it back down.
Taking this drill up one notch before we get into the second way to increase your speed instantly is I'm gonna add in a technique. Again, back to Aldo versus McGregor. Aldo was throwing a technique. At the same time, McGregor reacted with his own technique. The timing was there, and as WB always says, the best time to hit somebody is when they're throwing a technique of their own. So what I'm gonna do as coach is I'm gonna fake a technique, or I'm gonna throw my hand out there. He has to react to that technique and strike the mitt before my technique hits him.
The best time to hit somebody, timing. Here we go.
So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this up right here, and then you can put both drills together. But for the sake of this drill, I'm leaving the target up, and he has to react off of my strike.
Now, what this does to help with the timing is being able to read my opponent. Just the slight movement of their shoulders or their hips will tell me they're about to throw the strike. That's my cue to throw my technique. If I wait for his hand to come all the way out, it's already too late. So I gotta watch his body. Best place to look is center mass, guys, right here. Whenever you're fighting or sparring, you should be looking at your partner's center mass so you can see the body, the hips, everything. Every movement, every piece of information that you can take in to further your abilities and increase your chances of winning is important. So constantly watching your partner, making those micro reads, and there is a little bit of an anticipatory effect there as well. I'm anticipating WB's strikes. Is that a word?
Because it is now. Anticipating his strikes. I know what he likes to do. I kind of have a feel for him. People call it the flow state as well.
Yes.
So I anticipate his strike, and I'm able to time that strike perfectly, deceptively increasing my hand speed as well.
Yes! All right, you guys, second tip on immediately increasing your hand speed. Sweet Tea, tell them.
Know your strengths and weaknesses. And I don't mean strengths and weaknesses in terms of your skill set or your martial arts experience, but I mean your actual strengths and weaknesses. Me, I grew up playing football, so I'm really strong in my shoulders. I played defensive line, so my shoulders and my arms are really developed from having to move around offensive linemen all the time. So my strength is not in throwing a basic, from like a normal fighting stance, punch. I am faster and more comfortable throwing that Muhammad Ali style flick jab. And that could apply to you guys. A lot of people were taught here to throw from here, this jab here, and it's good to develop that and increase that speed because obviously that's what you want. But there are instances where you can change up the trajectory of your technique or how you throw that technique in certain moments to increase the speed of that technique.
It's funny you say that because whenever Tony does come and spar with our guys, everybody's always like, this dude, how is he so big and so fast? It's because he throws certain techniques that obviously, I mean, they're fast, but they wouldn't be as fast if you were throwing it like traditionally.
Correct.
Right? So you have that Muhammad Ali flick jab. Like for me, I throw my jab faster this way. Here, you know, I really don't.
And that comes from, you've had shoulder issues, so you don't use the shoulder a lot. You use more of that bicep area and that lat to bring that punch up. It's more of kind of like an uppercut jab. I like the flick jab, or I like anything that I can use my back muscles and my shoulder to kind of whip that strike out there because it increases the speed. And you can apply that to anything. It's very similar, again, back to Conor McGregor or Sean O'Malley or WB or Izzy. They have these weird ways that they throw their techniques, and it increases the speed of those techniques in that moment. That's not how they do it 100% of the time, but they do it when they need to for that speed increase or that deception.
So if you're out there and you're wondering, well, my technique doesn't seem like they're as fast this way, you might have to think outside the box to kind of try to make it fast for you, is what I'm saying, right? Some of us have this mindset of, I have to do it this way. You don't have to do it that way, which is why these guys like Anderson Silva, you know, all these high-level strikers are so good because they're thinking outside the box.
Now, what we're not saying is to go to your boxing coach and say, hey, what you said sucks and WB and Sweet Tea said to do it this way. That's not what we're saying. Constantly develop that traditional style for sure, because that's more foolproof and efficient in the long run.
Yes.
But there are moments where you can kind of feel that flow and work those flicking techniques to increase that speed and deception.
Flick jab. Are you ready, Sweet Tea?
Here we go. So here's a regular jab. See, even that right there, just the whole dynamic of pushing my arm, I'm pushing my fist towards the target, feels difficult for me to do. But when I add, I kind of take my front hand, my front shoulder, I'll bring it down a little bit, and I throw this, and kind of flick it up a little bit. And it's very similar to like that Bruce Lee style type of thing. Very similar, tend to be stronger back here. That's how I enjoy it.
Let me tell you something. The difference between the two. Most people, when they're in that traditional stance, especially beginners, they're very tense here, right?
Yeah.
They're very tense, shoulders are tense all the time. It doesn't allow a good fast technique or have any kind of speed on it because you're tense. When you're here and you're a little bit more relaxed, especially with that front arm, if you notice, Sweet Tea, and I can see how you do this, he's completely relaxed here. But as soon as that technique or that area is open, it's just like a jolt, like you've just been electrocuted in that arm, and boom, and it flicks it out there. So fully relaxed, and then bang, and then you flick it out.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It's all about relaxing the body.
I'm loose, I see, oh, and I can be able to pop it up.
Man.
It just feels faster.
And I think too, it appears that you're so fast because it's not coming from a traditional stance.
Yeah.
It's here.
It's not something that you're used to seeing.
Exactly. And that can also appear to make your speed just like through the roof, right? So even though you're not super fast, which I mean you are, you gotta have some athleticism in order for this stuff to work, but that technique is so much faster than your traditional jab.
Again, we're not telling you to disregard all of your basics. Those are super ultra important. Continue to work on those. But like WB said, what we are encouraging is every once in a while, think outside the box, feel what your body's telling you, kind of your natural tendencies, and go with those every once in a while. Now, obviously having my hands down, I'm gonna have some risks there, so I gotta be aware of that. I can't just be like, I'm untouchable, let me drop my hands and start doing this, I'm gonna get knocked out. But it is cool sometimes to kind of drop that front hand, flick that hand up, work those strikes. Tip number 2, instantly increasing speed.
Us.
Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, the most important tip, the most important thing that you can do today to increase your technique speed instantly. Here we go right now. Drum roll, please.
Telegraph.
Telegraph.
Telegraph, people. Yes, the telegraph. I am a huge advocate on the telegraph, okay? Because there was a point in my amateur career, I think I was like 5-0 or I had like 10 fights under me at amateur. But then my Mr. T, my pops, Papa Rich, as you guys know, this is kickboxing. He did not allow me to compete for a year. And the reason for that was we went back and we focused on no telegraphing. Hours and hours of getting in front of a bag, throwing a technique, and it's gotta be a certain way. It's gotta be at a dead still, so that way I can feel if I'm telegraphing or not my opponent. Sometimes we rely on our coach's feedback, and sometimes we don't get that. You feel like you're doing the right technique, and the coach is like, no, you're not doing it this way, you're not doing it right. You're like, yes, I am, but really you're not. So you have to be confident and know whether you're telegraphing or not. And a few ways that you can do that, you can visualize Tony just being a stand-up bag, or doing this in front of a mirror so that way you can see yourself telegraph or not.
Or, like we mentioned a few videos back, set up your phone, those devices, hit record, see yourself, go slow-mo. There's all kind of cool ways that you can actually watch yourself train and work out on a bag, sparring, and you can pick up on those details that your coach is like, you're doing this wrong, and in your head you're like, no, I'm not, I'm doing this right. Now you can see for yourself that your coach is not lying to you.
Now there's different ways to telegraph. You can do that off of your body movement. You can do that off maybe leading a certain body part first before the technique hits the target. There's a lot of ways, and you guys know what I'm talking about, you guys that have experience, where you sparred guys that feel like they know what you're about to do before you even do it. And it is because you are telegraphing. Now there's certain ways. For one, if I'm standing in front of Sweet Tea, and let's say I throw something as basic as a jab, you guys tell me in the comments where my telegraph is. There you go. What about this one? Where was the telegraph there? Y'all tell me where this telegraph is. Where was the telegraph? Pick it out. A good way for you guys to know and feel whether you're telegraphing or not. And this is what my coach, my dad, had me do in front of a bag with different techniques, and it's very, very simple.
With this VHS recorder.
On the shoulder.
On the shoulder.
So, starting as simple as a jab. I'm standing in front of my bag, and I want to be at a dead still. Now my goal is to get this hand to leave right where it's at. And it can only go from here, straight to the target. Right. Just like so. If I move my body first before I throw my technique, which a lot of us do because we want to get power behind it, that's a telegraph. They will see you coming. A good high-level striker will see that.
Very similar to that whole Kimbo Slice, Michael Jai White clip, talking about telegraph with his hands. You might think you're doing it right, but me, as also an experienced fighter, I've been trained to pick up on little nuances and tendencies of my opponents, even like to the subconscious level, to where as soon as he makes a movement, I'm able to react off of that.
Dude, see that video, see that clip. Maybe
cool.
we can tag that in the, down in the comments, or down in the
Yeah, we'll
thing
put it
below.
up.
Yeah. Anyway, it's super cool.
We've only been doing YouTube for 4 years. It's
Yeah, I
called
know,
the
dude. Description, gosh. So I want y'all to do this with all your techniques, your jab, your crosses, your uppercuts, your hooks, and you can even do it with your kicks. Now the kicks are a little bit harder because there's more body movement, but you get the gist.
Still training.
Still training. Now, I'll do it from here, and I'll even do it with my hand here. Again, with Sweet T's flicking jab. So my goal is to go from a dead still straight to the target. And the reason I'm standing still so I can feel if I'm telegraphing. If I'm moving, I'm not gonna know because I'm always moving, right?
Which isn't a bad thing, but
No.
we're trying to develop the anti-telegraph right now, so.
Yeah, boom. So dead still, bang, straight to the target. And I can feel if I'm telegraphing or not. Bang, just like so. And I can do it with my right hand. I get my back heel up, weight leaning forward, bang. Right there, throw my two. Bang.
I'm gonna move the target out of the way.
Oh.
He nicked it though, he nicked it.
I got it, bro.
Oh.
There was no telegraph. Okay,
No
here,
telegraph.
I'll do it again. Oh, I got it.
dude.
I got it.
And the two is hard because
The
again,
two
it's
is hard.
back to a lot of body movement, but it can be done.
I flicked it, but imagine if anything moved first. If anything moved first
Wouldn't have a
before the
chance.
two, I would have never hit my target. So I recommend going back and watching that Michael Jai White video because it was sick. It was funny because whenever he moved his hand, it was slower than the other two, but there was no telegraph and he hit the target. It was crazy.
That's right. And you've mentioned about Anderson Silva and how he's not particularly a fast guy, but his telegraph is
Yeah.
0, which again, you have nothing to tell. The only thing you're reacting of is the actual technique itself, which gives this person here a better opportunity at landing that strike, or yourself a better opportunity at landing that strike. So telegraph, think outside the box with your techniques, and timing. Learn how to read your opponent so that even though you might not be physically faster, you have the best timing. You've taken advantage of every opportunity to land those strikes.
Sweet T, I could have said it better myself.
I blacked
man.
out. I gotta be honest,
You
I
know what I
blacked
mean?
out. Where am I?
You're here at Upset. You're at Upset.
Oh, okay.
You're not back at the Tibetan Mountains. You're
Okay,
here.
I thought.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with me and Sweet Tea today on developing your hand speed instantly. Throw some comments down below. We always love to hear what our fans want us to see us do next. It's crazy how many people watch our videos and haven't subscribed yet.
Insane.
Why?
Insane amount of people watching, not subscribed. I mean, it's literally as simple as clicking a button.
Easy peasy lemon
Click the
squeezy.
button, subscribe, ring the bell if you're feeling a little saucy, if you're feeling a little froggy. Then guys, don't forget, big announcement, WB, July 29th, Salt Lake City, Utah. WB's got a fight July 29th versus Michelle Pajeda. It's gonna be a banger. You guys are
Exciting,
gonna be
baby.
along
Fight
for
of
the
the
ride.
year. Fight of the century.
That's right. Hopefully not. Hopefully knock him out in the first technique
Yeah, I think so.
that you throw. We're going to be bringing you guys along with the fight camps, all that good stuff. So stay tuned. We love y'all. Hit the bell. Don't miss something.
Woo!